Advertisement of tour programs by tour operating business entrepreneurs. In advertising, a tour operating business entrepreneur shall distribute documents which have at least the details as follows. 1. Name of the tour operating business entrepreneur and place of business, as well as the tour operating business license number. 2. Period of the tour. 3. Fees and methods of payment. 4. Characteristics and types of vehicles that are used for traveling. 5. Destinations and stopping points as well as important places in the tour. 6. Characteristics and types of accommodation and the number of prepared meals. 7. The number of guides or tour operators, if there is one. 8. The minimum amount of people in the tour, if it is a condition. Changes of tour programs in the advertisements must be informed to tourists before the payment. If the tourists do not wish to travel, they can get a refund as soon as possible without any expenses. If a tourist has paid for the services in part or in whole, and there is a personal reason for not being able to travel or for having to cancel the tour by no fault of the tour operating business entrepreneur, the tourist will get a refund of no less than the rate specified by the committee. If the cancellation of the tour is because the amount of tourists is not as planned, or the tour operating business entrepreneur is at fault by other reasons, the tourist will get a full refund. During a tour operating business entrepreneur cannot change a tour program unless agreed upon by tourists or caused by a force majeure. The tour operating business entrepreneur must pay money back to the tourist according to portions unless the entrepreneur can prove that the change incurs his or her higher expenses or the same amount. The tour operating business entrepreneur cannot ask for more payment from what was indicated or agreed. In case a tour operating business entrepreneur or tourist guide induces tourists to go to a place or join an activity apart from what is stated in the advertisement, his or her service fee, the entrance fee, must be informed to tourists in advance and cannot be changed more than the informed amount. A tour operating business entrepreneur is not allowed to provide a tour for foreign tourists without payment or with insufficient payment for the expenses according to the rules imposed by the committee. A tour operating business entrepreneur is not allowed to assign a tourist guide, a tour operator, or others to take his or her assigned tourist and ask for money from the tourist guide, the tour operator, or others, or let those people pay for the expenses of traveling, accommodation, food, and facilities for the tourist in part or in whole. In case there is a tourist guide or a tour operator going with the tourist, a tour operating business entrepreneur must use a tourist guide who is registered according to the Act, depending on the case. The work of a tourist guide or a tour operator is considered as being done under the employment of the tour operating business entrepreneur. A tour operating business entrepreneur must arrange for accident insurance for tourists, tourist guides, and tour operators during the tour. A tour operating business entrepreneur must pay for business fees every 2 years, according to the specified rules. An entrepreneur who does not follow these rules will have to pay an additional 2% per month. If 3 months has passed without payment, the registrar can suspend the license until the fee and additional fees are paid, no more than 6 months from the suspension date. If 6 months has passed and the entrepreneur still has not paid the fees, the registrar can withdraw the license. A tour operating business license is terminated when a tour operating business entrepreneur 1. Is dead or is finished as a legal person. 2. Terminates the business according to Section 38. 3. Whose tour operating business license is withdrawn. In case a tour operating business license is terminated, the tour operating business entrepreneur has the duty to act according to contracts with tourists as necessary, which will be no more than 6 months from the date the tour operating business license is terminated. If a tour operating business entrepreneur plans to terminate the business, the registrar must be informed. In addition, the tour operating business license must be returned to the registrar within 15 days from the date the business is terminated. The termination of business is not an exemption from legal liabilities of the entrepreneur to tourists. The guarantee placed by the tour operating business entrepreneur is not included in liabilities as long as the entrepreneur does not terminate a business. It is still included in liabilities in case the business is terminated. The entrepreneur can get the guarantee together with its interest back when the tour operating business license is returned and all debts are paid. If the debts are less than the amount of the guarantee, the registrar will reduce the guarantee to the amount of the debts. In case the entrepreneur has been informed to get the guarantee back, and if the entrepreneur does not get the guarantee back within 2 years from the notification date, the guarantee will be part of the fund. When a tourist complains about damage done by a tour operating business entrepreneur because an agreement on the tour or what is advertised is not followed, the registrar will investigate quickly and fairly. In the investigation, the registrar must also listen to the accused entrepreneur. When an investigation shows that a tourist incurs damage from a tour operating business entrepreneur, the registrar will compensate using the fund and inform the entrepreneur to pay back the money to the fund within 15 days from the notification. Rules, methods, and rates of compensation are in accordance with regulation imposed by the committee. If an entrepreneur does not pay the money back within the time limit, the registrar will deduct the amount from the guarantee before returning it to the fund. In case the guarantee is reduced because it is paid out, the registrar will inform the entrepreneur to top up the guarantee within 15 days from the notification date. An entrepreneur who does not pay within the time limit will have to pay an additional 2% per month until the guarantee is full. A tourist or tour operator business entrepreneur who disagrees with the registrar can appeal to the committee within 30 days of the notification from the registrar. The committee shall determine the appeal within 30 days from the date of appeal, and the committee's decision is final. The appeal is not an exemption for the delay of payment to the fund, the deduction of the guarantee to pay the fund, and the additional guarantee unless waived by the committee on a case-by-case basis. In case the tourist is dead, the heir or an interested party can appeal in the same manner as the tourist. In the determination of appeal, the committee has authority as follows. 1. In case the money paid from the fund is less than the damage to the tourist, the committee can order the registrar to make an additional payment to the tourist as specified and inform the tour operating business entrepreneur to pay the money to the fund within 15 days from the date of the notification. If the committee finds it is not the fault of the entrepreneur to pay for additional damage, the committee may not order for an additional payment to the fund. 2. In case a tour operating business entrepreneur is not responsible for the damage or is responsible for part of the damage where the entrepreneur has paid back to the fund or where the registrar has deducted the amount from the guarantee and the entrepreneur has topped up the guarantee, the committee will order the registrar to pay the amount from the fund back to the entrepreneur in whole or in part on a case-by-case basis. The Bureau is to inform the decision of the committee to related parties within 15 days of the determination.